used that slush fund to pay for some of the stuff that we got. So we're the only ones drawing slushies out of the slush fund. But it's taken out for the health care, but we've used that money somewhere else. That's where we've got to get control. When we do get control, and say, you know what, we're not doing that. But that was one of the ways to get the Senate to accept it, was to take this money that had already been set aside. So, you know, there's a lot of funding that we have to cut. And to be honest with you, we have tried to do that. But the alternative is, and a lot of people say, look, shut the government down. Because that's the alternative. There's no other alternative but to shut the government down. And a lot of people say they want to do that. And it would probably be a good thing for a week, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 days, but when people quit getting their Social Security check, military quit getting paid, the VA shut down, the National Park shut down, the Postal Service didn't run. You know, a lot of these things.
The analogy that I was thinking of that always comes to my mind that got me involved in politics was that when I was in the field in Vietnam in 1971 and a Democratic Congress and President sent us to Vietnam, in 1971 a Democratic Congress stopped the funding and cut the things, but we were still there fighting, but we couldn't get ammunition and food in the field. They didn't shut the government down, but they cut us.
And that's what's fixing to happen January 1st here, because Speaker Boehner, I've told him this, and I've stood up at conference and said this. He made a terrible mistake when he agreed with McConnell and Reid and Pelosi and the president to set up the super committee.
Dumb.
It was the dumbest thing in the world, because half of that 1.3 trillion came out of defense. The other half came out of entitlements. But it could only be from Medicare, and that could only be up to a 2% cut, and that could come out of the provider side, which would destroy our rural hospitals, basically, but the ones that are still in business out. And so, with the Democrats wanting to cut our military and not wanting to hurt the entitlements, it was the perfect thing for them not to do it. And I think if you talk to Jeff Hensling or some of the House guys that were there, they will tell you that it was an absolute stonewall from the very start. It was designed or failed.
Yep.
And if you look at who the Democrats put on, you know, they weren't even up for re-election. And you know, if you look at the ones that were in the House, there's no way that it was going to ever work.
Last month, the House Oversight Committee cleared a bill that would call for a complete audit of the Federal Reserve. I didn't know if you were in on that vote or not, and would you support the bill when it does hit the House this month?
Co-sponsor of Ron Paul's audit the Fed, and we are going to have a vote on that this coming week.
Yes. I would like, could you please elaborate, if you would, on the invisible tax that is known as inflation?